Hey guys, Matthias from Molnify here. Today I'm going to show you how you can build an app using Google Sheets and then turn it into a Molnify app. The app itself is going to have the feature FileUpload so that you can upload images to the app. It's also going to feature an SQL connection so that you can send your images and the comments to the images to an SQL database. And thirdly, the app will also be able to show all of the contents in the database directly in the app. So this is what the app looks like when it's finished. This here is supposed to be an inspection app for a plumber company where they inspect drains. So what you can do in this app is that you can firstly enter your email address and then your address. Then you can click here to drop a file. If you're on your computer, you can drop a file like this, for instance. If you're on your phone, you can use the phone's camera to snap a picture. You can add a comment. Here, for instance, I'll type money. You can add another file here. Maybe that can be this one here, picture of a cafe. And I'll type coffee here. Then I can click inspection approved. And when I click register inspection down here, all of this data will be sent to the Molnify SQL database, and then it will also be displayed in the app. So here, for instance, now you can see the top row features the two images I just uploaded. So let's get into how you build this app using only Google Sheets. We will start out with a blank Google Sheets document just like this. And now I'm first gonna create a couple of inputs, and I will speed up the video here. Okay, now I have my input titles over here. I'm now going to create the inputs by simply coloring these cells green like this. That will tell Molnify that these are in fact inputs. For the first input, here I would like to have today's date. So here I'll just add a today formula like that. And now I'm also going to add a few UI strings. As you know, a Molnify input is consisting of 3 cells. First, the title of the input, the actual input, and then the UI cell. And here you can write things such as divider name equals inspection details to get a nice divider. Here I want the user to type in his email, so I'll type placeholder equals enter email. I don't think I need a UI cell for address, but for upload overview image, I need to turn this input here into a file upload input. So I'll type file upload like that, and then I'll separate by typing in a semicolon, and I want to create another divider here. So I'll type divider name equals drain inspection. I don't need anything for the comments, or actually I do. I want to write text area here so that my text box get a little bigger. Then here I'll specify file upload once again, and same here, text area, and here inspection approved. Here I want to create a button in Molnify, so I'll type false here. True false turns inputs into buttons. I also want a description for this, so I'll type description equals by ticking the toggle you hereby declare the drain inspected and approved. Click register inspection to save. Okay, so that's it for my inputs. Now let's create a InsertRow action that can send all of these inputs to the Molnify SQL database. To create the InsertRow action, we first type out type. Then in the next cell to the right, InsertRow, And since this is an action, we want to color this cell yellow so that Molnify knows that it is in fact an action. Second row here will be table name, and that is the name of the SQL database that I'm going to send my data to. And the name of that database is data Matthias inspection. And I have already created this database in SQL. It looks like this. So here I have a few fields. ID, which is also primary key, and auto increment on. We have date, email address, image 1, comment, image 2, and comment for that, and also the complete field here. I will also automatically from Molnify get the Molnify user email, IP, application ID, and a timestamp. So let's go back into Google Sheets and continue. To create the first field here, the first field that we're going to send data to is the field called date. What I'll do in Google Sheets is I'll type a period and then date. And then over here I could point a cell reference on this cell. But as you know, this is only formatted as a date in Google Sheets. It's actually a number looking like this. But I want to get a certain kind of formatting to land in my SQL database. So I'm going to use an Excel formula for this, and I have it already made here. I'm just going to copy it and paste it in here. And we'll also have to update this to C5 instead, like that. And now when I press enter, you're going to see that this translates to 2021-08-27. Okay, I'm going to do the rest for the other cells that are going to get sent as well. So for instance, the next one is email. In that case, I'll just do a cell reference to this cell here. And then the other ones, I'm going to copy them in and paste like so. And then I can just drag this down all the way down here. I'm going to turn these cells yellow as they are part of the action. And then I'm going to have a title for the action that will create a button in the Molnify app. And it's going to say register inspection. One more thing that I want to add is a success calculate function to this, so that when you press the button, Molnify will also perform a calc so that the app will be updated with the latest information from the SQL database. So I'll just set this to true here. And then I'll color these two last cells yellow. So that's it for the insert row action. Now let's go ahead and create some metadata. Okay, so the metadata for this app is going to contain ID. It's going to contain a name, so that's just like any other application. But we do need a few more things. I want to have a certain style to it, so I want to add some CSS. And I actually have CSS pre-written, so I'm just going to paste that in here. I want to add a background image. So I'll specify background image URL in the metadata as well. And then we'll come to the part where we insert data from the SQL database into the Molnify app. And this is done through a functionality called AutoFill. So if I type here AutoFill dot last underscore 10, I can actually in the next cell here then type in SQL strings and have them perform against the SQL database and then return the results back to the Molnify app. So let's first create an ID for this app. It's going to be Molnify inspection demo. The name of the app is going to be also Molnify inspection demo. So I'll copy that in here. The CSS then, I'm going to get all of that and paste that in here as well. And as you can see, that's quite a lot of CSS here, like this. Yeah, there we go. And then the background image URL. I'll paste in the URL of the image. And now for the autofill. So what I want to do is I want to insert all of the different fields from the SQL database here. I'm going to exclude these last 4, but I want to see all of these fields here, and I want the last 10 registrations made. So I can do it in SQL. I can go to query, and I think I have it pre-written here. Yes, here we go. I can simply create an SQL string where I have a select ID, date, email, address, image URL, and so on from data, Matthias inspection, and order by ID, and set the descending limit to 10. So if I run this, you can see that, yeah, in the database there are already 4 registrations. So I'll just take this select now and I'll paste it into the Google Sheets document like this. And now when I turn this data here into metadata, I do that by coloring the background purple. Let's make the text white so it's easier to read as well. Now when I upload this app to Molnify, this select will be performed against the SQL database and then returned to the app. So now I'm going to create the area for that data to land. And what I want to do is then I want to mimic the database structure. So I'll scroll down here and then I'll paste in this. So I'm gonna type last 10 here so I know what to name it, and then I'll create some numbers, pull that down like that so I know how big this area is going to be. And then I'll just highlight these cells here and right click. I click define name range, and I'll name this range last 10 like that. Okay, so here all of the data is going to land, but I don't want to show this exact setup in Molnify. So what I'll do is that once again I will take my numbers here just for my own reference sake. I'll paste them in here, and what I will do now is that I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to do this actually. I'm going to type here date okay. So to turn this into a table in Molnify, I color these cells blue like this. Now I can also remove my numbers here. I'm going to give the table a name, and that's going to be let's see, it's going to be inspections like that. And then over here in the UI cell of the table, I will specify table so that Molnify knows it's a table and not a chart. But I also want to specify a class. So I'll type class equals inspections table. And this is because in the CSS code I have defined this class to look a certain way. Okay. So now for the formulas in the table. If something is set to this value in Molnify, this row here, if all of these cells have that same value like this, now you can see that all cells has the same value. In that case, Molnify won't display that row. So what I want to do is I want to create an if formula that checks down here. So if there's stuff here, that stuff's going to end up here. But if there's no stuff here, then we're just going to print out this value over here. So to create that formula, I'll type equals if. I'll ask if D29 equals this. In that case, type out this. Otherwise, type out D29. And then I can just copy that like this, and also over here. For the image, it's a bit specific. Here I actually need to use some HTML. And the HTML I want to use is img src. So I'm going to use that on a bunch of rows here, both in image 1 and in image 2. So I'll type that out here. Tag img src equals, and then in the cell below that I want to set the height to the images to 300. So I'll type out this, and it's going to be space height equals 300. Then as for the if formula here for the image, here I'll type out if, well, this one is empty, then print out nothing. Otherwise, print out this cell here, and I'll lock that in place, and image URL, which will end up here from the SQL database, and this cell here, and lock that in place. So right now it's not going to say anything, but you can see that the formula is here, and then I'll just drag that down like that, and I'll take this formula written in the cell and I'll copy that to image 2 as well, and as you can see now it's going to look for something down here instead, and I'll copy that all the way down as well, like this. Then in the comment I can just take the formula from address, paste that in, copy down, and same thing in the next and in the last one as well. So that's my table ready to go. We have our inputs over here. We have the action that sends data to our database here. We have the metadata over here, with the last row here being the AutoFill with the SQL query in it. For that we have the area called last 10 over here, where Molnify will insert the results of the SQL query, and then we have the Molnify table over here in blue cells. So to turn this now into a web application, what I'll do is I'll go up to share, and I'll type in Molnify librarian. No need to notify. I'll click share and share anyway. Then I will take the URL of the Google Sheets sheet and I'll copy that. I'll head on over to app.molnify.com and I'll click create app. Here you can either upload an Excel file, or you can create a new Google Sheets document, or you can link an existing Google Sheets document. And I'm going to link existing. I'll simply paste in the URL here and I'll click link. And now Molnify will turn my spreadsheet into Molnify software and a web application. And now it's ready. So we can go to the app by clicking go to app. And here we can see the app is ready. In this app now I can enter my email and my address. I can also see that the rows I already created for this app are present here in our table. And now if I want to upload an image here, I can do that. Maybe I want to take, this image of myself here. I'll click it and I'll upload it, and I'll type Matthias. We will take another image. Let's go for this house here, and we will type house as a comment. I'll also click inspection approved and then register inspection. And directly you can see the results here in the table. If you want to use your mobile phone, you can of course do that as well, and then you can, like I said before, use the mobile's built-in camera to take those pictures and then upload. Alright, that's it for this time. If you want to try to upload your own applications to Molnify, either via Excel or via Google Sheets, you can go to molnify.com and then create a free 14-day trial account, and then you can upload your own applications. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more tutorials. Have a really nice day. Bye bye.